What's up, guys? Thank you for watching the Armchair Verdict, the home of sensible boxing talk. And in this video, I want to talk about Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, the press tour is underway and all roads lead to the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada on the 13th of September, 2025. And in this video, I just want to give you my thoughts and my beliefs regarding this fight. Some of those beliefs may shock you and surprise you, and you might disagree with what I think about this, but hear me out. Now, as far as a event and a spectacle, I think this is going to be humongous. It's going to be the biggest boxing event of 2025, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the Allegiant Stadium, packed full of 65,000 plus fans. It's going to be on Netflix, so hundreds of millions of people worldwide are going to have access to it. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it, a lot of people talking about it, no doubt, plenty of celebrities in attendance, and it's going to make waves in the sporting world, not just the boxing world. And I know for a fact it's going to be a great event. I was lucky enough to go to the Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois fight at Wembley in September of 2024. So I know for a fact that the Saudis and His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, know how to put on a boxing event. That was quite possibly the best boxing event I've ever been to, as far as the presentation of it, the fireworks, the pyro, the atmosphere. It was unreal. So I have no doubt about it that this is going to be more of the same, and maybe even bigger and better than that was. However, as far as a competitive boxing match, that's where I have my doubts about this one. Now, those of you who have watched my channel in the past will be quite familiar and know for a fact that I'm not a huge fan of these kind of fights where there is a big size difference. I am very much of the belief that a good big man always beats a good small man. There are many examples to back this up. Think about Kell Brook versus Gennady Golovkin, when Brook stepped up from welterweight to middleweight to fight Golovkin, and he had success for a few rounds, but ended up getting beaten badly and stopped and got his orbital bone broken in his eye and was never the same again. Or think about Amir Khan when he stepped up from welterweight to fight the then WBC middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Amir Khan's hand speed did provide problems for a couple of rounds, but you could see Canelo was just walking him down, waiting to land the big shot. And once he landed the big shot, boom, shut his lights out, knocked out Amir Khan in a frightening stoppage, which genuinely had me worried about Khan when I saw him hit the canvas and his head bounce off of it. Or think about Vasily Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. Two guys that was maybe two of the greatest amateur boxers of all time. And this was billed as a boxing chess match between two masters. It was going to be back and forth. It was going to be so competitive. Lomachenko wiped the floor with Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux was too small, undersized, and ended up quitting in his stall in the corner. So there are a lot more examples of fights where the big man has always come up top comfortably. And don't get me wrong, there are examples where the smaller man has been successful. Obviously, there was Sugar Ray Leonard when he stepped up to middleweight to fight marvelous Marvin Hagler. And he shocked the world on that night and became the middleweight champion. So it can happen. Leonard was a special fighter. Terrence Crawford is a special fighter. So I'm not going to write off Terrence Crawford completely. I just feel that with these kind of fights, when you have two great fighters and one is significantly bigger, the big man's going to come out on top. And for it to be interesting or competitive, there needs to be some kind of advantage on the side of the small man. So maybe when like Andre Ward fought Chad Dawson, instead of going all the way up to 175, Chad Dawson came down to, I believe it was a catch weight of 171 or something like that, just to even the odds a little bit. Or think about David Haye, the unified cruiserweight champion of the world, who stepped up to a heavyweight looking to become champion. And he took on Nikolai Valuev, the 7-foot Russian fighter who held the WBA world heavyweight title. Valuev was a huge man, 7 foot tall. He weighed about 300 pounds, I believe. But you could see that Valuev was a man who started boxing late in life and relied very heavily on his size. He was very limited skill-wise, very cumbersome, very slow. And David Haye was a lot more skillful, had a lot higher IQ, was a lot quicker and a lot more powerful. So it was interesting to see, could the slicker, quicker, more powerful, more clever David Haye defeat the giant, which was Nikolai Valuev? the skill disparity kind of balanced out the size disparity and made it an interesting matchup. And David Haye did end up winning the fight and becoming heavyweight champion of the world. Or think about Roy Jones Jr. when he stepped up to heavyweight to face John Ruiz. John Ruiz was probably one of the worst heavyweight champions I've ever seen, if I'm being totally honest. And again, like David Haye, Roy Jones was very skillful, very quick, very intelligent. So that kind of made up for the lack of size, and he was able to pull it off. In this situation, there aren't many advantages that I see Terrence Crawford having over Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is the younger man of the two. I do believe Crawford has a 2-inch reach advantage. And if you said skill for skill, I would have to say that Crawford is the much more skillful man. But for me, Terrence Crawford is a man who's had his best success at the welterweight weight limit, where we saw him go on that massive run. I think he got 8 stoppages in a row. When he did step up to 154, the junior middleweight limit, to face Israel Madrimov, he won a very competitive matchup. And I said before that fight to people I know, I think this is going to be the toughest fight of Terrence Crawford's career, because he was fighting above his natural weight class. And I just think it was maybe a step too far for him. But he pulled it off. He got the job done, despite it being very competitive. But I saw nothing in that fight that said to me, Crawford's going to be able to step up to super middleweight and take on the best super middleweights in the world. I just don't see it. I don't see what he can do. I know he's a very good boxer, but maybe if he employs a defensive game plan like Floyd Mayweather used or Erislandy Lara, he can have success. But that's not what Crawford's about. Crawford isn't as defensively skilled as Mayweather. I mean, Mayweather's one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time. Crawford does get hit. He does get tagged. You can get tagged by Israel Madrimov and get away with it. But you get tagged by Canelo Alvarez, those big body shots, those uppercuts, those hooks, it's going to wear you down and break you down. And I think that's how this fight's going to go. I think Canelo will break Crawford. I would imagine he's going to win by stoppage. That would be my early prediction, unless I see something between now and then that sways me or changes my mind. And also bear in mind, carrying the extra weight and the extra size, Crawford's going to be slower than he is usually. So he's not going to be as slick. He's not going to be as mobile. Will carrying the extra weight slow him down? Will it tire him out earlier? There's a lot to consider here. Yes, Canelo is a little bit past his best, but he's still got a lot in the tank and he's still very capable and he can do a job. It's a weird one. I mean, talking about the press conference itself, the two press conferences I've seen have been interesting. You can see these are two men that have a lot of respect for each other. And even when they had the little push, I think, where Canelo pushed Crawford and Crawford was getting in his face, it almost felt scripted a little bit and like they was doing this. Like they've had a chat beforehand, like, look, we need to promote the fight. Let's give these guys something to talk about. And they were sort of just playfully messing around with each other. They've traded a few insults, you could say. I mean, I heard Canelo questioning the resume of Crawford and vice versa. But you can tell these guys like each other. They respect each other. They're trying to make it a bit more spicy and dicey to promote the fight. But there's a lot of respect there, which is good to see. Two warriors doing battle. There's no need to force it. But yeah, I'm not really interested in all the theatrics. I just want to see the fight, to be honest. But my early prediction is I think Terrence Crawford will get stopped by Canelo Alvarez. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being a bit too harsh on this? Do you think that Crawford has the skills and the IQ, the speed to pull this off, to beat Canelo Alvarez? Do you think maybe I've got this all wrong? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear people's views on this because it's very interesting. I've got a few friends that are sort of disagreeing with me on this and thinking, no, you know, Crawford's a special fighter. Canelo, he's past it. And that's what I'm hearing from a lot of quarters. So I know people feel differently to me, but I feel how I feel and I can't pretend to feel otherwise. I'm not going to write off Crawford completely, but I would make Canelo Alvarez a heavy favourite for this fight. So guys, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And please don't forget to like the channel and subscribe. Let's like the video and subscribe to the channel, pardon me. It means a lot and it goes a long way. But that's it from me on this video and I'll see you on the next one.